SG, it's that time again. Look who we see. Our Today All Day viewers.
You know what? We're putting the meaning in today all day because it's night here and it's day for you. But it's still Tuesday. We got a lot to cover. What's first, Hodes?
You're still trying with Tuesday. All right. Well, first up, Jeff Bezos' flight into space. We are on the ground in Texas with a firsthand look at this out-of-this-world trip and how it's making history.
Plus, I'm going to bring you the latest from here in Tokyo, including, yes, those concerns over those new COVID cases with the Olympic Games just 3 days away, but also the building excitement, Hoda. Opening ceremony just days away now.
Looking forward to it. And I had a chance to catch up with two of the biggest stars in showbiz, J-Lo and Lin-Manuel Miranda. They have a special announcement you do not want to miss. Yeah.
Did Lin-Manuel ask about me or anything? Did J-Lo?
No.
What?
They didn't.
No. Okay.
So sad.
All right. Well, we'll have even more star power on the show. Actress Shailene, Woodley, also Felicity Jones. They are going to join us to preview their new film.
And we're also going to introduce you to the incredible story of the Olympic athlete Lolo Jones, all the hurdles she's had to overcome to achieve success at the highest level. Savannah.
Gosh, this is a good one. I know it's good every day, but this sounds great.
All right, let's get going. It's time for Today in 30. We begin in West Texas, where the world's richest man just made history. Jeff Bezos and three others blasted off aboard the Blue Origin rocket. Bezos follows fellow billionaire Richard Branson, who took off 9 days ago from New Mexico. NBC's Tom Costello's at the launch site this morning. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Hey, Tom. Sorry, you're Hoda. Hi, good morning to you. Listen, this all happened at about 6:10 or so a.m. Pacific time. What an incredible morning. A great success for everybody involved. Let's walk you through how this went down. We begin with liftoff right off of the pad with the Blue Origin rocket and 110,000 pounds of thrust pulling the entire capsule up into the upper atmosphere. And then we had separation where the capsule broke away from the rocket on its way to a very low position in space, 62 miles up. And then a beautiful breakaway after about 3 to 4 minutes of weightlessness and the capsule coming back down, parachuting back down to Earth. All in all, a picture-perfect flight. This morning, liftoff for Jeff Bezos and his three fellow passengers, successfully finishing the first passenger test flight for Bezos' space company, Blue Origin.
Go, Jeff. Go, Mark. Go, Wally. Go, Oliver. You are going to space.
On board, 57-year-old Bezos, his brother Mark, 18-year-old Oliver Damon of the Netherlands, and 82-year-old veteran pilot Wally Funk. On Monday, all four talked to Hoda.
People who say they go into space, that they come back changed. Astronauts always talk about that. So I can't wait to see what it's going to do to me.
You're going to be up in space for 11 minutes. Describe how you see that in your mind's eye.
Not having to touch or grab something, I can just float to it and do my turns and do my rolls. And that's what I love to do.
2, 1.
Already, Blue Origin has flown 15 unmanned test flights. Today's mission meant to prove the space capsule is safe to carry paying passengers 62 miles high for 3 to 4 minutes of weightlessness, equipped with an emergency abort option as the rocket climbs, and 3 parachutes rather than just 1 as the spaceship returns to Earth.
We set it out to design it for non-professional astronauts with just a little training and have them not take substantial risk. So I would put my own kids on this vehicle.
You would? You feel that safe, that confident in the safety?
I do, and so does Jeff Bezos.
And Blue Origin has been a godsend to nearby Van Horn, Texas.
Well, everything's bigger in Texas. So I think it's neat that Jeff Bezos brought it to Texas, and I think it's neat that he brought it to our economy.
Founded in the age of the stagecoach, Van Horn hugs I-10, its population hovering below 2,000. With Blue Origin, Van Horn is back in the crossroads of history.
And touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard's first human crew.
Yeah, a very, very successful landing here in West Texas. Let's go back to those moments, though, as we saw the capsule parachuting back down to Earth. slowing from going about Mach 3 down to about 16 miles per hour as it descended under those 3 parachutes down to a very soft landing in the West Texas desert. They have a retro rocket firing to really even cushion that landing even more. And then, just a few minutes ago, perfect touchdown. Then just a few minutes ago, all of the crew members came out of that capsule, including, of course, Jeff Bezos and his brother Mark, and 82-year-old Wally Funk, that veteran pilot who was part of the first Mercury 13 astronaut corps, but never was able to fly because she's a woman. And then probably the luckiest teenager in the world, the Dutchman by the name of Oliver Damon. All of them happy to be back on the Earth. Hoda, back to you.
Fascinating 11 minutes. All right, Tom, thank you so much. Let's head now to Japan, where the opening ceremony of these Summer Olympics now just 3 days away. The U.S. women's gymnastics facing early adversity with the news that an alternate tested positive for COVID. And now we know of another athlete on Team USA who will not be able to compete. Savannah's following all of it from Tokyo. Hey, Savannah, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. There's still a lot of excitement here about the approaching games. The athletes are arriving. There's the last-minute rush to prepare, but the usual anticipation is being overshadowed by COVID. And already some of those who've worked for years to get to this point are out of the competition. Just 3 days before the Tokyo Games officially open, the pandemic is putting some of Team USA's Olympic dreams on hold. 18-year-old Kara Aker, an alternate on the women's gymnastics team, is now quarantining in a Tokyo hotel after testing positive for COVID. So far, she's asymptomatic, her parents trying to keep their daughter's spirits up from afar.
Even as an alternate, there's always hope that, you might get a chance to compete. So that keeps you going, it keeps you motivated. But now that this results has come back, that hope is gone.
You just feel totally helpless to do anything except try to keep her spirits up and, hug the heck out of her when she gets back.
Kara was fully vaccinated before she left for Tokyo.
We really went out of our way to do everything we're supposed to do, to follow the protocols.
NBC affiliate KSHB confirming her fellow alternate Leanne Wong is also in isolation, though she's tested negative. The station caught up with both of them at the airport on their way to Tokyo.
We'll be close by just in case something happens, and we'll be able to just transfer right into there really fast.
The alternates and the main competitors like Simone Biles had been practicing at the same facility here in Japan, but the alternates lined up, warmed up, and trained in separate areas. The USOPC also confirming to NBC News that Simone was not in isolation or impacted by the positive case on the USA gymnastics team.
There's not much that hopefully can stand in her way of an all-around title, and we certainly don't want it to be COVID-19. So we'll continue to try to take these precautions, make sure not just Simone, but the entire team and replacement athletes are safe.
USAG decided not to stay in the Olympic Village, instead opting for a hotel in Tokyo, where the gymnasts are now in individual rooms. USA Gymnastics says coaches have been wearing masks at all times, and the athletes have socially distanced when possible. Members of the main team do appear to have been together without masks in Tokyo, according to social media. Back home in the U.S., a heartbroken Katie Lou Samuelson announcing she will miss the games too after getting sick with COVID-19. The WNBA star says she was fully vaccinated and took every precaution. And on the men's side, USA Basketball announcing Zach LaVine, the Chicago Bulls star, has been placed under COVID protocols too.
We're back with that interview we've been looking forward to all morning long. Hoda, you sat down with two of the biggest powerhouses, not just in music, just the world, yeah. J-Lo and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Hey, lucky me. It's hard to think of a bigger duo than those two, right? Well, I don't know if you guys remember, 5 years ago they performed on our plaza. Oh, yeah. Well, now Lin-Manuel and Jennifer are teaming up once again for a special cause. In 2016, Hamilton star Lin-Manuel Miranda and music icon Jennifer Lopez graced our plaza with their charity tribute, Love Make the World Go Round, a song dedicated to survivors and victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. Now, they're coming together once again for another special announcement.
It's the 5-year anniversary of the Pulse tragedy. So we figured on the anniversary to re-release the single, which we really released out of a desire to do something in the face of this tragedy.
Having that song performed on the plaza was memorable, watching everybody holding hands, watching this moment, this collective love. If you didn't feel something, like you didn't have blood in your veins. The other thing that was really moving and surprising to me to reflect on, Lynn, was it was your very first time on the Today Show that day.
Gosh, it's so funny because I also remember that was the weekend I left the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'd had my final performance as Alexander Hamilton. I cut my hair off. I rehearsed all day with Jen on Sunday, and then we were on the show.
I really drove him crazy to do this. It was just like, I had to. I was like, you have to do this with me. You have to do this. He was like, you don't understand what's going on in my life right now.
Now, this has been 5 years. You've had all these hits, all these moments in your life. So much has changed. Are you different, Lynn, than you were back then?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think that, we continue to, live in the world we live in. We continue to try to show up for our community in whichever way we can be the most useful at any given time.
Okay. Now, Lynn, you can busy yourself with whatever business. If you need to text somebody, I need to have a little girl talk with my girl, just a little. You look happy. Look, I've known you for years.
I am happy.
You look happier.
I'm always happy when you see me, Hoda.
No. You look happier. Look, I just have to tell you, every time I see a picture of you and Ben, I'm like, she looks happier. She looks happier. Are we happier?
The song is out 5 years. 5 years since we've done it, and I believe that message of loving one another and coming together and love is never more relevant than it is right now.
Wait, it's me you're talking to. You know that?
I know. You can call me. You have my number.
Well, we tried. All right. For Lin-Manuel and Jen, it's their children that are the ever constant loves of their lives. I did see a picture of you and your little coconut, and it melted my heart. How are your kiddos doing?
They're doing great. I have been blessed with the two most beautiful, brilliant little beings that I get to look over and help guide while they teach me about life, which is what really happens a lot. And it's a joy.
And Lynn, what about your kids?
Oh man, my oldest just the reading finally kicked in. He's 6 years old. He's a morning person, and it was like 5:30 a.m. Dad. And now I wake up on my own, and he is somewhere reading a book, and he is. And it is very deja vu, like seeing myself at age 6, just in the corner, just like soaked up in something.
This dynamite duo first met on Jen's birthday years ago. Now, turning 52 on Saturday, she is keeping this year's celebrations simple. Jennifer, happy birthday early, girl. It's how are you feeling?
They keep coming.
What?
They keep coming, these birthdays.
How are you going to celebrate?
With friends. Have fun, raise a glass.
So what up with her and Ben? Nobody knows. All right, Love Make the World Go Round. I did try. Love Make the World Go Round is out today. Proceeds, by the way, profits of that re-released track will go to the One Pulse Foundation. By the way, it is a song that keeps giving. And I actually rewatched. You interviewed them on the Plaza with Savannah.
That day they were here,
and it was a very moving day. That song, that moment, and it was really palpable. So you felt it.
Yeah, they're great together.
Yeah, they are.
Let's say you're looking for a romantic drama. Well, we've got a movie for you this weekend. The Last Letter from Your Lover tells the story of a young journalist named Ellie who stumbles upon some mysterious love letters from the 1960s. Felicity Jones plays Ellie as she becomes entranced and invested, convincing her paper's archivist to help her search for answers about what could have happened to the couple.
I like the way you tell this story. Shailene Woodley plays one of the lovers from the past, caught up in a passionate affair with a journalist after they spend a summer together.
I think I found one.
Oh my God. Read out.
Dearest Jay, I have spent my life avoiding complication, especially the romantic kind. Having met you, I now realize that what I was doing wasn't really living at all. I know it's hard for you to hear that I love you, but I have to say the words.
I write these words with you in mind and my heart swells. So, whatever the outcome, let us arrive together. You'll find me at Postman's Park on Friday at 6 p.m. I'll be there waiting.
Wow. Shailene and Felicity join us now this morning. And ladies, I think it's wild that, you know, this was a period piece, so you weren't ever in scenes together. And here we are on Zoom, and you're still not together. Have you guys seen each other at all?
I know. We never, it was so disappointing to know we were in a film together and then realized that we didn't have any scenes where we were both doing it together. So we just saw each other like ships in the night, really. We saw each other in the makeup truck a couple of times because we had a couple of days where we were both doing scenes, but it wasn't enough, you know. I wanted more. So hopefully next time,
yeah.
Shailene.
Well, the movie is fantastic. I think, you know, it's exactly what people need right now. And Shailene, I know this is kind of your first time playing a woman from the 60s. How did you like the costumes and kind of playing that whole role?
I mean, I loved it. Who wouldn't love wearing those costumes? It was really interesting, though. I knew a little bit about the history, you know, when it came to women and their rights in the United States from that era, but I didn't know much about it in England. And so researching that and learning more about that was fascinating to me. You know, if a woman wanted to get a divorce, she couldn't. There were certain laws in place that I wasn't aware of. And I think that was probably the most fascinating component of the whole experience for me.
You know, Felicity, what's interesting is you've done your fair share of period pieces, but this time out, you opted to play the contemporary role. So what was it that drew you to the character?
I just loved Ellie. As soon as I read the script, she just bounced out. I'd wanted to do something contemporary for a few years, and I'd been looking for something that had some humor in it. I'd done a film called Chalet Girl years ago, and I'd loved the experience. And I loved Ellie's wit and her and just her personality, and it just felt like it would be fun to play, and in a story that's such a romantic, beautiful story to tell.
And this is your first time producing a feature film. I always wonder when people wear a couple of hats in a production like this. Was it tough juggling acting and producing at the same time?
Well, yeah, Shailene and I were both executive producers on this film, and the most amazing thing is being there right at the beginning, being able to have those conversations directly with the writer, Nick Payne, who had written a play called Constellations, which was excellent, which was on at the Royal Court in London. And so I sat down with him quite early on and with Augustine Frizzell, the director, and it meant that we could really chat very openly about the character and make changes, and just having that early relationship just makes for such a more fulfilling experience, I find.
I'm sure it does. And Shailene, congratulations. I want to congratulate you on your engagement to Aaron Rodgers. I was hoping to meet you at the American Century Golf Tournament last weekend. My mother-in-law said she saw you from a distance, but she didn't want to bother you. What are you most excited about when it comes to planning a wedding?
I mean, honestly, that's not even a conversation we've had with the world today. Like, we haven't even talked about it. So I'm not sure what will be the most exciting component of that.
But you got something to look forward to. And Felicity, you gave birth to a beautiful baby boy last year. How's motherhood treating you?
I have to say, it makes you incredibly focused and efficient when you go to work. So I have to say, yeah, it really gets your mind into a good place because you realize how important time is.
Excitement is building for the Olympic Games and Team USA. And if there's one person who knows a thing or two about the Olympics and what that feels like, it is Lolo Jones.
Yeah, Lolo has had her share of highs and lows as an Olympic hurdler and bobsledder. She's going to join us in a minute. But first, take a look at her story.
Three-time Olympian Lolo Jones is no stranger to a challenge. Growing up poor with her father in and out of prison, she developed a drive that would earn her an athletic scholarship at LSU and eventually the title of Best Women's Hurdler in the World. Jones was favored to win the 100-meter race at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. She was in the lead until she hit the second-to-the-last hurdle, finishing in 7th place.
It was just shocking and numbing.
Following a series of disappointing races, Jones was diagnosed with a tethered spinal cord and underwent back surgery. Not giving up, she returned to the Summer Games in 2012 and finished in 4th place.
I laid it out there. I fought hard for my country.
It was then that she took the unusual step of competing in the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi on the bobsledding team, becoming one of just a handful of athletes ever to compete in both the Winter and Summer Olympics. But once again, she fell short of a medal.
Do they have enough? No.
While more injuries and the coronavirus pandemic have derailed recent attempts to get back into the games, she hasn't given up the spotlight. She's appeared on several popular reality shows, including Dancing with the Stars and Big Brother.
You know Orleans is spot.
And now Jones has her sights set on the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics and finally winning that elusive medal, which she admits would be the ultimate accomplishment. Who is cooler than Lolo Jones?
No one.
Nobody. Okay, she's written a book. It's called Over It, How to Face Life's Hurdles with Grit, Hustle, and Grace. Lolo, we are so happy that you're here. And just before we get started on the book, just a question on the news of what's going on over there at the Olympics. You know, there's a gymnast alternate who tested positive for COVID, a basketball player who tested positive. I mean, it's such a just kind of a real mixed bag of what's going on. But what are your thoughts? You've been in athlete shoes, obviously, before.
I think the athletes that go on and compete in the Summer Games, they're going to be the toughest that win those medals because they're dealing with so many extra things that you wouldn't normally have to deal with at a game. COVID protocols, COVID testing, no fans to cheer you on, no family or friends to watch you. So those are going to be the toughest of the toughest. And I hope that they can still enjoy their Olympic experience with everything that is surrounding it.
So Lolo, this book is incredible. You write about your childhood, which wasn't easy. You went to 8 schools in 8 years. You were raised by a single mother. You moved a lot. You were hungry. What was your childhood like, and did it help you form this grit that you write about?
Absolutely. I mean, I had a tough childhood, but some of those things are the reason why I'm an athlete in my field today. So I had, my family couldn't really afford a car, so we had to walk and run everywhere. Well, little did I know that walking and running would be essentially what transformed me into being one of the best athletes in the world. So I mean, it's just amazing how sometimes the things that seem like they're not blessings at the time turn out to actually make us stronger.
In this book, I thought it was interesting. You open up about a subject that is very, very personal. And I think you said people ask you about it all the time. And you talked about your sexuality, being a virgin, and how that is somehow deemed unacceptable these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I'm a Christian, and those are, the beliefs that I believe in, that I'm going to honor my husband when I get married, but I get attacked for it all the time. I remember in London Olympics when I competed there, they were like, well, maybe if she would have had sex, she would have got a medal. She would perform better. They would tell me, like, shut up and just put out already. It's like, no one cares. I get attacked for that all the time. And I find it the craziest thing ever because it's, it's a decision I made for my husband, so I'm not attacking anybody in their beliefs, but it's funny how that gets so much ridicule.
Yeah, and you're standing strong in your convictions, which is awesome. You're right now training for the 2022 Olympics, which is so...
I'm on you can see the track behind me. This is the bobsled. Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going really good. So we have push championships in a few weeks. And so with the pandemic hitting, I was actually training for the Summer Olympics. But when they delayed the Summer Olympics, I knew that I could no longer do both of the sports. So I turned my attention to bobsled because we qualify the same time as the Summer Olympics will be competing. So that's where I put my attention.
You just finished your interview with Lolo Jones. How did that conversation leave you?
We knew she was fantastic, but that was multiplied by about 10 times after interviewing her, didn't you think?
Yeah, I loved when she said, she had to walk and run.
Yes.
Because they didn't have a car, and that's what catapulted her into becoming this incredible athlete.
I mean, I feel like whenever you meet someone who went through a real tough upbringing, like you have a difficult childhood and a better and a little bit easier adulthood.
100%. Her book is really cool.
Over it. Oh, we've got another big show for you coming up tomorrow on Today.
Yeah, Joe Martin brings us another edition of Steals and Deals with everything you need around the house.
All right, we can't wait for that. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good Tuesday.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.